How does it feel framing an innocent man? This is Season 2, Episode 4, KM Forget. Quantico After Show starts right now.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Why is this show so complicated? Welcome to the after show for Quantico on ABC, Season 2, Episode 4, KM Forget. I am your host, Drexel Hurd. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, pretty much everywhere at Drexel Hurd. And to my left, my lovely co-host today.
Oh, thanks. Hey guys, I'm Renee Ariel. You can follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at Renee Ariel. And shout out to Maria who did my lashes. Go follow her on Instagram at Big Sexy Lashes.
Oh, a little shout out. She didn't do my lashes.
Yeah, you gotta follow her on Instagram.
I'm very
get hooked up.
I do. Just one though. For Halloween. Just one side and one side.
Perfect.
Andy will be back next week, and I know Gabe's out today too. So we are rocking the house right now. So don't worry, we got it covered today.
We got it.
So let's start out with YouTube comments from last week. So let's see. Hold on one second. Let me just pull it up. Jorge Avila. Jorge Avila said, to be honest, if they full fake out the gay talking about Harry, because last week we talked about Harry and Sebastian last week.
Yeah.
I'll be really disappointed in the show. Last season they faked us out with Simon and they killed Elias, because remember Simon, you didn't know where he was, but he liked Raina and he liked Nemo. Well, I think he liked Raina.
He liked Raina. Well,
yeah.
he liked Raina because Raina was the only one that liked him. Nima,
Right.
but he had more in common with Nima. But he was gay when we were introduced to him.
Right.
Yeah.
And they killed Elias after making the bad guy. In my opinion, if they did it with Harry again, it'd be sort of stupid and not sit well with the LGBT community. I agree. But ABC has been really good to the LGBT community. So we'll talk about what happens later on in the show. It's Gloria said, fun fact, they filmed the scene where they had to mingle with the people at Langley. Remember last episode?
Yeah.
I probably spelled that wrong. At my school, John Jay College of Criminal Justice on West 59th and 10th Avenue. And I used to live in New York City, so that's really awesome. We talked about how they film in New York City and how like you see nothing but Broadway stars in this show.
Yeah.
So that's really cool to see. And then Vanja Milankovsky said, how does Alex know she can trust Lydia in the future? She sounded really convinced, so something must have happened at the farm to make her believe Lydia with the good guys. And going into next episode, or going at the end of, in the end of this episode, we have a scene with Lydia and Alex that we'll talk about as well. So as always, thank you guys for your comments. We are always excited to talk to you guys in the chat room because you guys know all the facts, first of all, and then you guys keep us on our toes in terms of predictions because it makes us have to think. So that's always really great. If you're in the chat room right now, of course, tell us what you guys thought about this episode, and use on Twitter, you can use the hashtag ABTVQuantico. One of the things I wanted to talk about was just before we start the episode, is the ratings for this show.
Yeah.
We're fans of the show just like you guys who watch it. But the ratings have sort of slipped on this show now. So last week, the viewership was at 2.8 million viewers, and it was like less than 1% of the key demographic watching. Oh. Why do you think that is?
Perhaps when we were introduced into this new season, I mean, it is a very complicated season, as was the first, but I think this season is definitely a little bit more complicated and a little harder to keep up with. So perhaps people just have trouble following the storyline. Maybe they want I don't know, some more of a clear message, I would say, because like last season we were constantly battling back and forth with who's good, who's bad. And then we kind of got answers, though, as we were going through. Like, people were being marked innocent throughout the season. As with this season, you can't trust nobody.
Trust nobody. Take that sip if you're watching.
Yeah. So maybe it just has to do with the complicated storyline this season.
And so part of the reason why I think that the ratings are not as good as they have been last season is the fact that we're in NFL season right now. You've got Sunday Night Football. You've got the World Series happening right now. There's a lot of, these past few weeks, there have been a lot of games on Sunday nights, so a lot of people aren't really paying that much of attention to primetime television as they normally would. But the other part of that, and we talked about this at the top, Renee and I were talking about this at the top of the show, because when I write my notes for the show, for this particular show, I have to write past, present, past, present. Every note that I write has to have that. Where are we in the story?
Yeah.
So that I don't get confused when I'm coming to talk to you guys, because I can get really confused as to what's happening. And I think that's very confusing for people to have to kind of stay like engaged with like, oh my goodness, where are we?
Yeah, and I think the show, okay, for me, season 1, I binge watched it. I didn't keep up every Sunday. I was late in the game. And I think this season especially would be awesome to binge watch because it's easier to keep up with the storylines. And I mean, even today, Drexel and I were like, wait a second, is that Nima or is that Renee?
Right,
We were trying to figure out who
is
was the
what,
handler.
right.
But it's just like, there's so many characters. It is hard to keep track, especially with that week in between.
Right. And I also think part of the other thing about this season is that we don't have a clear favorite character. At least I don't. If you guys have favorite characters, definitely shout them out to us. But I don't have a clear favorite. Like, of course, we like Alex.
Yeah.
Ryan, he kind of annoys me a little bit because he's like a puppy dog that doesn't really quite know what he wants to do. And so we don't know, because we don't know who to trust. I don't know who's a favorite character yet.
Yeah.
At least I don't have a favorite character. Do you have one?
No, like I don't have my Caleb this season, and I'm bummed about that.
Where
I just want
is
Caleb.
Caleb Haas.
But all the characters, I mean, Shelby's annoying me sometimes. I know she's
Is she annoying you in
good,
the past or is she annoying you in the present?
she's annoying me in the past, not the present so much. I get why she's struggling so much in the present with this Miranda situation, because this is someone she knows, she trusts, this is a friend. So I get where she's coming from, like in the present. However, in the past, she's like, stop trying to get involved, just be a handler, stop trying to flirt with the other agents, like just do your job.
Right. So speaking of job, let's talk about where our recruits are in the past. As always, we're going to start the show out with the task, which they had to create an illusion. So the task was, the mini task was learn operatives. It was craft a narrative or falsify, create illusions, and or erasing traces of where you were. So at the beginning of the task, we saw Harry and Alex and Ryan in the bed because they had drugged them. Have you ever had to completely wipe a situation before, like in your room, or like not have traces of yourself somewhere?
I mean, I'm sure I've done that if I'm like just like sneaking around, like if I want to like take something from like my sister's room when I was younger. I'm sure you gotta like, you gotta be careful with it.
Did you have to like case the room, like look around where everything is placed?
Yeah, like, make sure that pillow was a little off. Gotta fix that one. Totally. But this is a little extreme compared to the situations
Alex was literally counting the amount of, when she was casing the room in Owen's house, she was counting like the M&Ms or whatever, the peanut M&Ms in the jar.
I know. She was, I mean, they're way more detail oriented than me. I would have failed that task. Like, you wanted me to count the M&Ms?
Right. But I guess they had to do that. I don't think I mean, I'm sure there have been plenty of times where I've had to be like, oh, that's not in the right place. Let me turn that right back. I've looked at it or whatever, and I fixed it up, and I haven't done that. That's a lot.
That's like,
it's
how
stressful
do you focus on like, I don't know how my mind would go to like every small detail. Like, I mean, I get the bigger things, but if you apparently if you forget one little thing, it can ruin the whole case.
Yeah, and that takes us to the main task, which was a live operation. So they had to watch this journalist, Al Crawford, at the Franklin Club. He was a journalist that they thought was selling state secrets to the Russians. So their task was to watch Crawford, rub shoulders with any of the big wigs in there, find out everything that they needed to know, case his room, to find out everything they needed to know about him. And then Lee was running point on the whole operation, get in, get out without getting caught.
It's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's
a lot for 3 recruits. So they have this whole team of recruits, and yet Harry volunteers them. Harry volunteers them for a very selfish reason. Not because he wanted to be a part of the operation, or kind of obviously not. Obviously, we'll talk about Harry in a little bit, but because he wants to now get more information about Alex and Ryan.
Yeah, he had his own agenda.
But
for
what
sure.
are the other recruits doing?
Right.
Like, where was everybody else?
Where did they go? Did they
Nobody
just have a
even
night
volunteered. Nobody like objected to like not going. Like, it was very odd to me. Like, everybody was standing there. Harry says yes, me. How about us three? And then nobody says anything.
No one's like, hey, maybe I want to be part of
Right.
this. Everyone's like, oh, okay.
And we know why
stay in.
Leon did not take part in that, because Owen had him on a completely different operation. But we didn't know
Yeah.
that. Did you know that going in?
No.
Because when I
No.
saw him, I was like, what is he doing?
I was confused when they originally showed what he was.
When they originally showed him kind of photoshopping the...
Yeah, because I remember Owen like talking to him, but I thought he was going to talk to him about recruiting him in the beginning when he first met, was talking to Leon. I thought it was going to be like a weird meeting, not that he wanted him to Photoshop his friend and
Right.
whatever, that whole thing to set this guy up. I don't know. I found it weird that he. I mean, we don't know what he was being blackmailed with, though. Correct?
Who? Leon?
Leon.
Not yet. I don't think
Not
we got
yet.
that
I don't
yet.
think we do either. So
I think we're still piecing together like his past. We know that
Mm-hmm.
he was kind of caught up in the government back where he came from, but I don't think we've kind of got his full story yet.
So do you think that's why? Do you think that was supposed to be a hint in the very beginning when he was cutting up the bodies in the very beginning, and Owen was like, "Looks like you."
Looks like you know what you're doing.
Yeah. Do you think that was a kind of like a little poke?
I mean, every episode we start to get to know a little bit more about Leon. Obviously, I think that he is going to be in the present somebody that is very important, because, you know, this show doesn't really focus on, like, there's so many different characters, but when they start to really focus on, as we get closer to mid-season finales and then towards the end of certain seasons, they start to really focus on certain characters, and they've been really focused on Leon's story now that they've kind of introduced his relationship with Shelby, or whatever he's doing with Shelby. Shelby had a lot to do with this episode. With, you know, Shelby and her relationship with, like, it was all connected back to Shelby somehow.
Yeah, but she needs to just like stick with your mission, girl. Like,
Yeah.
stop trying to get involved and try to like be a part of it. You're not a part of your part, as Nima said, is to be in the box. That's your job right now. Just continue doing that. I get that it could be boring, but like, this is one mission here. Like,
Right.
you'll have other cases to work on that will be more exciting, but like, I just don't know why she is so impatient and wants to just get involved and flirt with this guy she knows she shouldn't be flirting with. And I'm sure it has to do perhaps with the case. However, like, stop trying to do work that you're not supposed to be doing.
But that's something that's funny. I'm glad you brought that point up, because that is something that Nima says to Shelby towards the end of the past portion of it, where she says, we've gone through the Quantico situation with that happened with all the trainers last year.
Yeah.
We've gone through Grand Central. We need to lay low. That was the situation. Shelby's like, let's go. And now she's got Leon.
Yeah.
So I wrote down Leon and Shelby relationship. I don't know what that means. So
That's just annoying to me.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe she's lonely because she doesn't have Caleb.
Yeah, but here's the
I'm
thing.
lonely without Caleb.
Yeah, we're all lonely
We're all
without
lonely without
Caleb, if we're being honest. But I think that it's okay. The way it was introduced at the end, like their whatever their relationship will be, seems a little bit like a hookup. Seems a lot of bit like a hookup. Let's be real. Is it a problem if you don't know my name? Like, that's obviously they're gonna hook up. However, again, why would she put herself in that situation? It makes me angry.
Yeah, I think that Shelby's, you know, she was kind of back and forth a lot last season. She lost a lot of folks last season. She had to deal with her parents last season. I think she's been in a desk job pretty much this whole time. So I really think that she wants to kind of get back into the game, because she really wasn't as involved as Raina and Alex and Ryan last season. I think she really wants to get back out there. So a couple other things that happened. Will Olsen, top of the show. We talked about Harry's relationship with Sebastian last week.
Mm-hmm.
Truly confirmed Will's sexuality at the beginning. I mean, Harry's sexuality at the beginning of this episode.
Yeah.
Big sex scene. You know, ABC loves their sex scenes at the beginning, top of the show. I don't know if Will's sexuality came up last season.
Yeah, I remember him vaguely, but not so much. What do you remember about Will and his character?
I just thought he was a little neurotic.
That's all.
That's all I remember. That's all I
right.
really remember.
He wasn't like he wasn't completely relevant to the point where there's something big happened with him. I just remember he was off a little bit. People didn't know if they could, or it sounded like he was it Simon or him that sounded like they were planning everything that came out of their mouth before it came out?
That was probably more, well, Will was the one who knew everything about everybody.
Yes.
And then
I remember him now.
Yeah.
So many characters.
Yeah.
I saw him like, is he from this season? Because I cannot remember where I know him from. And then when you said past season, I immediately remembered him. I'm surprised they reintroduced him.
No, well, we saw him in the bar, so we knew he was going to come back.
Oh yeah, true.
We saw him in the bar. We saw Will, Harry approach him in the bar, so we just didn't know what he was how he was going to play and how he was going to play in the past, because obviously we see Will in the future, but where does Harry use Will in the past, and how does that, is he still trying to figure out that Shelby relationship? Because you saw at the beginning, the top of the show, Harry blocked Shelby's phone number from calling Harry,
Yeah.
from calling Will in.
I thought that was all. I thought he did that whole thing. I'm sure to say he went as far as just sleeping with him to pull this whole thing off. I wouldn't put it past Harry. I think he would totally do that. He gave him a fake name. I think he literally wanted to get close to him because he knew.
Because they called him Julian.
Yeah.
We were like, who's Julian?
Yeah, I was like,
who's Julian?
I was like, isn't his name
Harry?
Harry?
Yeah.
I was so, like, I'm telling you, because, oh gosh, it confused me. I completely forgot when they met, whatever. Anyways, so I think that Harry slept with him and had this kind of relationship just to get that number, that information, to get, just to block, because it was this whole part of his plan. He had to block Shelby's number from his phone, so that if Shelby tried calling him after they got that weird message, he would just think he's in trouble. I'm not sure exactly what he got out of it, aside from seeing that Alex and Ryan were working with Nima and Shelby. Like, he needs to mind his own business.
I want to know how he found out they were working with Nima, though.
I think he knew her face as well, because remember
But they're both twins. It could have been Raina or Nima. Like, he said it like he knew exactly which sister it was.
That's
as
true.
if he used the powers of what we find out to be what he says he's MI6. That's why I'm really confused as where Harry is, because if you think that he used Will, and I know that that Jorge mentioned disagreeing with us on why he was using Sebastian in his comment. I'm very interested to know if Harry is. I don't know. Like, I don't know where his story is, because if he is MI6, I mean, he's really trained at what he's doing. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
I do like the fact that they are bringing in another intelligence agency, if that's the truth.
I know.
Into this season.
I do think that I think that Harry's gay, but I do think he completely is just 100% using. Yeah, I think that's what he does.
Yeah.
I think he's a big time manipulator, especially. I mean, if you look at like who he targets, just like trying to like see what he can do, like see if he can, like flirt with them, whatever, see if they can make him uncomfortable, flustered. That's what we saw last episode with Sebastian. He was trying to get it out of him
Right.
that he was, and I don't know why he would specifically just target the guys in that way if he was straight, and like his character that whatever he's playing in this situation, it's just to I don't know, if he's like not actually gay and he's just gonna target males. I think we would see that more with him also targeting some females in that sense. We haven't seen that. He uses men, he manipulates men,
right,
to get answers out of them and to get information. And we've only seen that particular way, like using sex or like flirting to do that.
Yeah, in the chat room, the truth says that Shelby is too thirsty.
Yes,
and that she
is.
needs to stay in her lane. And I think that Harry might be thirsty too, but in a very different way. They're all very. Because they haven't really, like in last season, like everybody was kind of sleeping with each other at Quantico.
Yeah.
This season, they're so type A. They want to do better than the next person. They're not really. They're using each other. It's very. Very crazy.
God, I want people to sleep around with you. I loved that in the first season. I loved the relationships that came about.
Oh my gosh.
None of these people are sleeping together.
Y'all better start sleeping with each other. Come on, ABC. We know you love people sleeping together. Okay, so back to the task real quick. Okay, so they go in.
Yeah.
We watch Leon Photoshop this girl in. We don't know what's going on. At first, I was like, is Leon going rogue? I thought Leon was on his own. I was like, what is happening?
Me too. I was so confused what he was doing because we didn't get any context really. I mean, aside from that one initial conversation he had with Owen, I was so confused what he was trying to do. I'm like, is he trying to do the mission right now? Because he's doing what is he doing for the mission?
Right. So yeah, that was really sorry. I'm laughing because somebody. I love when you combine names of like characters.
Oh yeah.
Somebody wrote that Harry is gay and he's interested in Sebastian. You can call him Sari. You can call him Hibastian. He's on its way, people. I like that.
Sari
Hibastian. Hibastian, I love.
Hibastian.
Hibastian is very
name.
funny to me. So they go in and they're casing Al's, what's his name? Al Crawford's room.
Yeah.
Then they get a phone call from Owen saying, you have 13 minutes before I call the cops. There's a dead body in here. You have 13 minutes to get in and get out.
Good luck.
Good luck. Alex, I put your prints, I'm sorry, the room is in your name. Harry's prints are everywhere and Ryan's saliva is all over the place. What would you have done in that situation?
Cried.
Literally, I would have just sat in the corner, rocked myself for about 10 minutes, and then just ran out the room right after that and just said, I don't know how I don't know. But Harry's in the room with them, and he kind of tries to, once again, kind of out them within this mission.
Yeah.
And he says, I can help you get out of this room if you tell me who you are and if you're FBI. I was really shocked at how willing Alex was to give that up. She did it twice. She did it in the room and then she did it in the bar.
I understood why she did it in the bar. I didn't understand why she did it in the room. However, I loved just how they unveiled the actual her actual plan, their actual plan with setting it up for Harry to take the fault.
Right.
And then it made sense to me because they thought he was like good riddance. They knew he was on their trail. Like they knew he was figuring stuff out. They knew he was going to be the bad guy for them. He was going to be a roadblock in their way. So like, we'll just get rid of him. And it doesn't matter if we tell him he's going to do this for us and it'll work out. So I think it was just all part of their plan. Right. And that made sense to me. But in the bar, I get it because he was going to tell them anyways, or he was going to find out. He definitely wasn't bluffing, I don't think. I really do think he has... maybe he's not already an agent. Maybe he did lie.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if he's in
oh my
six.
Gosh,
I don't know who he is. But there's so many... the British... that accent, they could lie their way out of anything. They could lie their way out of anything. It would be like,
sounds great.
Yes,
you're right.
You know what I mean? You're like,
yeah.
Absolutely. Yes. You must be in Her Majesty's Secret Service. We believe you. Yeah, I thought that was so. So one of the things that I loved about this episode is how I wrote down old school spy music, because they used that a couple times. They used that kind of old school spy scenes a couple times. They used it when they were in the phone booth, which I thought was really funny.
Yeah, I loved that.
Not only using the phone booth itself, but then they had that like kind of cinematography with the screens moving. Somebody wrote down. I know somebody in the chat room said that it was a very Ocean's 11 esque episode, which I love Ocean's 11, both the old school Rat Pack version and the new version with Brad Pitt and George Clooney. Love that. So I thought this episode was really good in terms of like bringing that kind of old school spy stuff. But
I agree. I like that part.
Then when they're in the task and like we find out that Raina and or Nima and Shelby and Alex and Ryan were like trying to double cross Harry together because see it's all Harry's fault because he was trying to double cross. He was trying to bring Shelby in. I don't know why. It was very confusing as to why he thought that was a good idea.
I know.
During a mission.
Totally. But I
like,
do
what were they going to do?
Right.
In the middle of the mission?
What was your plan?
Right.
Like they're going to figure it out.
Plan?
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I don't know what he was trying to do, but I do love. See, this is why I love Quantico, where they kind of keep us in the dark, and then they expose the actual plan, and then we get to see what actually happened. Love that. Right. I love that because it shows how good they really are, and I love watching that. So I really enjoyed this.
They haven't really been doing that
No, not
in
this
the past
season.
two seasons. In the past,
This season, yeah.
This season, yeah, where we see the task post all of that.
Because it's just been different. I don't know. The first season I feel like we saw a lot of that. I think also in the first season we saw more of the future or present than we do in the second season, because in the second season, I guess it's over like the future is over a 12-hour period.
Right.
Whereas the first season, I cannot remember how long it was, but it was a much longer time, and there was more to the story of the future, because I thought when I originally went into the series that she was going to be just hunted down the whole time, and I was like, oh, that might get old. But I loved how they switched it, and then she was helping them, and we were all trying to figure it out together. It was less of like, we got to bring down Alex. However, this new season, it really is just constantly chasing Alex, and I'm hoping that they're going to like change that soon, which I think
Right.
well, I don't know.
I don't know
Actually,
what's
she's
gonna
still
happen.
running.
A couple other things. Owen was a big part of this episode. We got a little bit more into Owen's past, about why he, like, what happened to him.
Yeah.
Turns out that he was outed by a reporter, which reminded me as a political junkie of when Valerie Plame in 2003 was outed by the Bush administration. An actual CIA operative was outed back in 2003. Valerie Plame, Bush administration. It became this whole thing, and I think that's where they picked up a little bit of that of this season, because that's exactly what happened to Owen, and so he
Yeah.
wants to know the names of the people who outed him. So he basically uses Leon to frame the journalist into giving him that information. We saw that at the end.
Yeah.
Did you learn anything from Owen that you probably didn't already know?
No. I mean, I guess what happened to him was new, and it does make me feel some sympathy towards him. However, then it just makes it a little more confusing, because now I'm wondering, like, well, now he has a motive. If he's angry at the system, he could want to recruit for the
'Cause he can't do anything
AIC. He can't do anything. And then it's like, well, who are these people that outed him? Are they the ones that are actually recruiting the AIC?
Right.
And then are those people that outed him people we already know? And are we just not sure who they are yet? And we'll find out soon. Like, it honestly just opens more doors as opposed to really answering any questions.
Yeah. So that was pretty much all of what happened in the past up until the Leon and Shelby relationship towards the end. So we'll kind of see what
Yeah.
happens that. Now in the present, the first thing we see is Miranda gets a message that Boyer's dead. Because last episode we saw them take him away. They switched it out. They saw them take him away. Boyer's dead. Now they need a new option. So Miranda goes to Shelby, says, Shelby, we need to find, basically, she doesn't say to Shelby, we need to find another Boyer, but that was what she said. We need to find somebody like Boyer to see how they work and see if they can infiltrate what they're doing on the other side.
Yeah.
Basically, we knew that as Miranda needed another Eric Boyer,
Yep.
which was, I was like, okay. But luckily, Shelby picked up on that. Or at least I thought she did.
She did, and then
she
she was
has been.
convinced otherwise, because all these characters are trusting everyone. They need to stop trusting people.
Trust no one.
Trust no one. Trust your gut,
Trust
Shelby.
your gut. Alex then goes and steals she knocks out the 3 agents. Alex is like on a AIC, like bang, 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 bang. She's killed 2 AIC members in the last few episodes. Then she knocks out 3 more. Then she steals the phone, which I don't know if you saw, but when that phone rang towards the end of the episode and Miranda picked it up, I thought Alex was going to be the caller, but we'll talk about who was on the other end of that phone in a second.
That would have
I
been
thought
good.
that would have been really good.
But I did
Or
see
if
that.
Alex was like, hello?
But she did see the message that said she is inside.
Yes.
So I'm wondering, because Alex is so smart. I'm wondering if she'll piece that together, because who knew that she was in the building aside from Miranda at that point in time? And I don't know if it said the date or the time or anything next to that.
No, it didn't.
It didn't?
It was just the beep, beep, beep. That's the message.
Because she might be on to Miranda a little bit at this point. I hope she pieces it together. Because how else would they figure out she was inside? And who would have communicated that to them from the outside?
It could have been anybody
That's
on
true.
the outside, though. So then Shelby brings in Will Olsen, who we talked about with Harry in the past, and now
Yeah.
Will is in because he is a glorified hacker as well. And Shelby tells Will about Miranda. When it was happening, did you think that was a good idea?
No. Again, Shelby, how do you know to trust these people? Why don't you trust your gut? You were given this information. Find someone that you really, truly trust. What made her, I mean, from what I've seen with her and Will, I don't understand why she like 100% trusts him.
I would have given Will pieces of information.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you know, we don't know what's going on. We really want to look into everybody, including people here, because we want to make sure to weed everything out. That's how I would have done it.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been like, Miranda's bad.
Yeah, I would have been like, hey, let's look through the emails and here's all the information. I would have said, listen, we got to figure this out.
Yeah.
And then see what happens after that. I'm surprised that Shelby didn't do that. But she, like we said, she wants to be kind of out there in the situation. It was a very not action-packed, but it was a lot. There was not much going on the other side with Alex other than her running around. They cut
running around in the dark and the light.
They cut the power out. She ends up getting in there. She ends up shooting or getting into like this shootout with people.
But they were talking in English.
They were talking in English to her. Then she got caught. Then they end up getting shot. So then she escapes. And then we find out that she runs into somebody, which ends up being Lydia at the bottom of the staircase.
Yeah.
And you're like, she's like, oh, where did you come from? How did you escape? Lydia's got you see the thing around her neck. So what do you think? Why do you think Lydia is down there? What is Lydia's deal?
See, I don't know, because I think they're trying to make Lydia look suspicious. And whenever they try to make a character look suspicious, like at this point of the season, I don't think that they're actually bad.
Yeah, but how did she get out of that holding cell?
She was in the...
because Lydia was in the room with all those people. She had a little thing around her neck.
Yeah, but they let all the hostages go.
Some of them. So it's either
I thought it was all of them.
So then how did she get back in?
That's what I was wondering, how she got back in, which means she didn't go out. However, that does make sense, because you remember when they were passing over Boyer, and then they were saying, Miranda's like, okay, just let the rest of them go. Like they were counting, they're taking steps and then counting, and then they said,
we were
let the
like,
rest
why
of them go.
are they taking 10 steps? Right.
So they
you
stopped
think Lydia
counting.
just came back in?
I think Lydia never left
left.
because they didn't finish counting. They did not count every single hostage that was in there. So she probably just never left. I don't think she got back in. I think they're trying to make it look like she escaped and then she got back in because she's one of them, and I don't think that's the case.
Which goes back to what Vanja said in the comment section was, can you trust Lydia?
No.
Obviously, is it Raina in the present? And
Raina's in the future.
Raina's in the
the
future,
past.
right? Trust Lydia, and should Alex trust Lydia in this situation? Do you think Alex should trust Lydia?
Why do they all trust Lydia? By all, I mean just Alex, and then Raina trusts Alex to trust Lydia.
Because she talks slow. If you ever noticed, Lydia talks really slow.
I haven't paid attention to that.
She does.
She really?
She has the actress has a very slow speech pattern to where she talks really slow.
Do your impression of her.
She's like, well, I talk really slow. I don't know. It's really weird. She just talks really slow.
I have to
you have to watch it and you're like,
yeah.
You're
like, we're on a time
is this a choice? is this an acting choice? I don't know what's happening right now. But you need to watch it and you're like,
yeah.
huh, okay. So if you guys trust Lydia, let us know. If not, tell it. I really don't know who to trust anymore.
I don't either. I don't even know who could be the bad guy.
I don't even trust Alex.
I don't.
Alex is probably running this ship right now. I don't know. And we haven't seen Vice President Haas yet, so she could be running this whole thing. And we know that she's got to come back at some point. I mean, she's the vice president.
Yeah.
And nobody's talking about the first lady. I want to know. One of the unrealistic things about the show is I want to know what's happening on the outside.
Yeah.
Like, at least with the last season, you saw the news, you saw what was happening, you could hear certain things. We're not hearing much of anything.
Yeah, it's just all blue and looks cold. And it's just,
I mean, Dementors and on the whole set.
It's not even like a world. It's just like jumping from building to building, the same characters. And I want to see what else is going on. But again, they're limited because we have 12 hours. This is going over just 12 hours of time. So I don't know what could happen in the 12 hours, but so far it's just been running away.
So in the chat room, the truth says they only let the hostages from Federal Plaza, but not the group with the farm trainee. So that means Lydia was still inside somewhere.
Oh.
Yep, And then Charmed Original said the one who killed the terrorist and saved Alex was Lydia. And when Alex saw her, it was coming from changing out of the terrorist garb. That's okay. I can go with that. I could
go with that, but I'm not sure because that happened and then they bombed it. And then when Alex was running down the stairs, Lydia was coming up the stairs, I thought.
That would have been a lot because if you guys, I mean, I don't know if you guys saw it, but it was the culmination of this whole like illusion piece of it, which I thought was really cool because whoever saved Alex took Alex's bracelet and put it on to
One of the bodies, yeah.
And then made it look like Alex was dead.
Because they're going to blow it up.
Because they were going to blow it up and do that.
The arm?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I mean, just so that you could see that Alex was possibly dead. And they could just say that, yes, it was Alex. And this is her bracelet. We know it's her bracelet. And she's dead. Which I thought was really cool. How they're starting to tie the task up to the end of each episode.
I do like that a lot.
So whoever saved Alex, I believe, was a CIA farm person because of the task.
Ooh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see that.
Because how would you know?
But they're all apparently all of these people. I mean, if their theory is correct, are the AIC.
I don't think all of the farm is AIC. I don't think that would be a lot of trainees on the farm to be AIC.
Because this has happened over a period of time, correct? Because like the
this
AIC,
is all on the same day.
No, I know that. I mean, the AIC existed before.
Oh, you
Alex
thought they recruited a bunch of people and they
beforehand? Yeah, because
right.
I think they're building up some. The AIC. I mean, this has happened. That happened with the I forget it was a man or a woman that looked like they killed themselves, but really it was done by people.
But I think that whoever saved Alex was one of the people that we know.
Oh,
because
from the farm. Yeah.
Because a person that we have not met, that did not know Alex, would not have saved Alex.
Yeah, which then it goes to say, but then you can just say, well then, who is this person that would join the AIC to then let Alex go when you know Alex is trying to go against the AIC, so who would be on her side while still being in the AIC? And then you could go to say, well, is Miranda then working with that person as opposed to the actual AIC? It's confusing.
There's a lot going on.
There is, because there's a lot of options. We haven't really narrowed it down at all. Like, I cannot tell you one person. I'm like, they're innocent. Especially now that Lee, they're making her more like, I don't know, relatable or sweet or just like human. They're humanizing her, but they're making her
with her kids at the end.
With her kids, right. With the fact that she's not just like, we got to get this done. I have no feelings, whatever. You see, she is scared. She is going through.
But why?
Because they're trying to get us to like her, so then she can turn around. Later. That's what I'm saying. I don't trust it. But then again,
we didn't get a chance to see if she was so we did not get a chance to see if she was actually talking to her kids.
Yeah.
You know, you go under the assumption that it's like if you don't see a dead body, that doesn't mean they're dead. You know, like if you didn't see her kids. I don't know if there's actually kids on the other side of that screen because we never really saw her kids.
I mean, one kid voice was talking,
but who knows who knows? I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't even trust the kids. This show's making me not trust anybody.
I don't trust Lee. I don't trust Ryan. I think they're setting up Ryan to be bad. Agree, or it could be Nima. See, Nima, where the heck is Nima in the future? That's a good question.
That is a good question. I want to know, and we definitely want to know what you guys thought. And so now that takes us to some predictions.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
That's right. What do you think is going to happen next? So next episode is Aqualine. I think they're going to, the next episode is Aqualine.
I think next episode, I think we're going to find out one person who is in the AIC, right, but actually on Alex's side. And then I also think my big theory is that Ryan is bad, or he is playing Alex in some way. So he's either actually bad or he has been working against her this whole time. Like his mission was different than hers from the get-go, which I think would make a lot of sense because I don't know why they would put them both in the same mission. I think they would have different missions and wouldn't be allowed to tell each other. And since we know Alex really well and we know that was her mission, I think it would be Ryan that had a different
I don't want Ryan to be bad.
Oh, I'm seeing it now.
Well, we definitely want to know what your guys' predictions are. So use the hashtag ABTV Quantico, or put your comments down. Put your predictions down in the comment section, and we will talk about them on next week's show. We've got 2 more episodes left until the mid-season finale. So make sure you guys stay abreast on that. And that means we will see you all next week. You can follow me at Drexel Hurd on Twitter and Instagram.
And hey guys, I'm Renee Ariel. You can follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at Renee Ariel, and on Snapchat at the Renee Ariel.
And we'll see you all next week.
Bye.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.